The heat arrives before the land reveals itself. It presses down from above, radiating from below, wrapping the body in a weight that feels almost alive. The air does not move, it shimmers. Breathing feels thicker here, as if the atmosphere itself has been altered. This is not ordinary heat. This is geological heat, planetary heat, the kind born deep inside the Earth, rising relentlessly to the surface. This is the Danakil Depression, one of the lowest places on Earth, one of the hottest, one of the most volatile landscapes ever exposed to daylight, a place where the planet's inner workings are not hidden but laid bare. The ground is stained with color that feels unnatural, acidic yellows, toxic greens, rusted reds, blinding whites. Minerals crystallize on the surface like frost, but this is no cold illusion. These are salts, sulfurs, and metals pushed upward by volcanic forces, settling into fragile crusts that crack beneath the slightest pressure. The land looks chemical, manufactured, as if the Earth here is unfinished. Beneath the surface, three tectonic plates pull apart: the African plate, the Arabian plate, and the Somali plate. Their slow separation tears the crust open millimeter by millimeter, allowing magma to rise closer to the surface than almost anywhere else on the planet. The Danakil Depression is not merely a landscape, it is a wound, and it is still opening. The sun hangs overhead like a fixed object, bleaching the horizon into a white blur. There is no shade, no relief. Daytime temperatures regularly push beyond 50 degrees Celsius. In some places, the ground itself radiates heat, warming the air from below. Sweat evaporates instantly. Water becomes precious beyond reason. Yet this land is not silent. The earth breathes here. It hisses, it gurgles, it exhales steam and toxic gases through fissures in the ground. Sulfur vents release thick yellow smoke that burns the eyes and throat. Acid pools bubble gently, their surfaces rippling in shades of neon green and electric blue. The smell is sharp and metallic, like burning matches and rusted iron. This is one of the few places on Earth where the boundary between surface and interior disappears. Lava lakes glow in the distance, their molten rock churning slowly, endlessly, like a heart beating beneath thin skin. At night, they illuminate the darkness with a dull red pulse, reminding everything nearby that the planet is still alive and dangerous. The ground is fragile. What looks solid may collapse without warning, revealing scalding mud or acidic brine beneath. Crusts of salt shatter underfoot, breaking into razor-edged fragments. Each step is deliberate, each movement measured. This is a place that punishes carelessness. The Danakil sits more than 100 meters below sea level, trapped in a basin formed by tectonic collapse. Millions of years ago, this region lay beneath an ancient ocean. As the plates shifted and the land sank, seawater flooded in, then evaporated under relentless heat, leaving behind vast deposits of salt, layer upon layer, century after century. Today, salt flats stretch across the horizon like frozen waves, blindingly white under the sun. From above, they resemble snowfields. From the ground, they reflect light so intensely it feels surgical, cutting into the eyes. Salt here is not seasoning. It is architecture. It forms ridges, pillars, and polygonal patterns that fracture and reform as temperatures rise and fall. Beneath the crust, brine shifts and migrates, reshaping the surface in slow motion. And still the land grows hotter. Rain is almost non-existent. Some years pass without a single drop. Clouds form rarely, and when they do, they often dissolve before releasing moisture. The atmosphere is stripped of mercy. Everything dries, everything cracks, and yet life persists. Microbial organisms thrive in the most hostile corners of this landscape. In pools of boiling acid, extremophiles feed on sulfur and iron, drawing energy from chemical reactions rather than sunlight. These microorganisms paint the land in impossible colors, turning poison into pigment. They resemble nothing familiar. Single-celled survivors that echo conditions believed to exist on early Earth. Studying them is like peering backward in time to an era before plants, before animals, before oxygen filled the air. The Danakil does not just show the future of heat, it shows the past of life. Animals are scarce, but not absent. Small reptiles hug the ground, minimizing exposure. Insects appear briefly, emerging only during rare moments of tolerable temperature. Birds pass overhead, never landing, sensing instinctively that this place is not meant for rest. The silence between sounds is immense. There are moments when nothing moves at all. No wind, no insects, no distant calls, only heat and the low, constant murmur of the Earth's interior. In those moments, the scale of the land becomes overwhelming. Human presence feels temporary, almost absurd. Volcanoes dominate the horizon. Erta Ale rises from the depression like a broken crown, its summit holding one of the planet's few persistent lava lakes. The molten surface rolls and folds, releasing bursts of gas that ignite into brief flames. The heat here is overwhelming, even at a distance. The air trembles above the crater. This volcano has been erupting for decades, quietly, steadily, not in violent explosions, but in continuous creation. New land forms with every overflow of lava spreading across the salt flats, cooling into jagged black rock. The ground here is young, still warm, still unstable. Walking across these lava fields feels like traversing the skin of the earth while it is still healing. Sharp edges cut through boots. Heat leaks upward through cracks. The rock carries the memory of fire. At night, the temperature drops slightly, but the heat never leaves. The darkness reveals stars with startling clarity, unfiltered by moisture or light pollution. The Milky Way stretches across the sky, mirroring the pale mineral rivers below. Above and below, extremes converge. The Danakil is often described as alien, but that word falls short. This is not another world. It is Earth, stripped of comfort, stripped of illusion. A version of the planet that exists beneath the surface everywhere, usually hidden from view. Here, the planet is honest. Geological time is visible in every direction. Fault lines scar the land, marking the slow violence of plate tectonics. Rift valleys deepen as the crust pulls apart. Eventually, millions of years from now, this depression may flood again, forming a new ocean. The Red Sea itself was born from a similar rift. The Danakil is a beginning disguised as an ending. Human history here is thin but enduring. For generations, people have crossed this land to harvest salt, carving blocks from the flats and hauling them across the desert. The work is brutal, the environment unforgiving, yet the practice continues, echoing ancient trade routes that once connected empires. Salt once shaped civilizations. Here, it still demands sacrifice, but the land remains indifferent. Dust storms rise suddenly, blotting out the horizon in walls of brown and white. Winds lift fine particles of salt and ash, scouring exposed skin. Visibility collapses, direction becomes meaningless. The desert erases landmarks with ease. In these moments, survival depends on patience, on stillness, on waiting for the land to pass. Heat distorts perception, distance warps. Sounds travel strangely, carried and bent by shimmering air. The mind drifts. Fatigue sets in faster than expected. The environment does not attack aggressively. It wears everything down. This is slow violence. And still the colors persist. Sulfur terraces form cascading steps, their edges glowing yellow and orange. Acid pools shift hue as mineral concentrations change. Iron oxidizes into deep reds, while copper leaves streaks of green. The land appears painted, yet every color is born from chemistry and heat. No 2 days look the same. Earthquakes ripple through the region regularly, subtle reminders that the crust is thin here. Sometimes new fissures open overnight. Steam escapes from places that were solid ground the day before. The landscape rearranges itself quietly, without warning. The Danakil refuses permanence. It challenges the idea that land is stable, that ground can be trusted. Here, the surface is temporary, everything is in flux. Standing in this place feels like standing at the edge of time. Past and future overlap. Ancient processes unfold in real time. The forces that shaped continents are visible, audible, tangible. There is no vegetation to soften the scene, no water to soothe it, only raw elements, rock, heat, gas, salt, light. And yet there is beauty, not gentle beauty, not comforting beauty, but a severe, overwhelming beauty that commands attention, a beauty that does not ask to be liked, only acknowledged. The Danakil Depression is not meant to be conquered, it is meant to be witnessed. It reminds us that Earth is not tailored for human survival, that comfort is the exception, not the rule, that beneath every forest, every ocean, every city, there is a restless planet still shaping itself. As the sun lowers slightly, casting long shadows across the mineral fields, the colors deepen, the heat lingers, the land continues its slow transformation, indifferent to observers. Here, the earth shows its true face, unforgiving, ancient, alive. And in its presence, all borders between surface and core, life and death, past and future, begin to dissolve.